From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my talented and handsome co-host, Joshua Poppin' J. Bevan.
Poppin' J. Okay, you gotta give me some more explanation. Why Poppin' J?
Because the person we're discussing today is from England, and it's an old word meaning someone who's, nattily dressed and extravagant, and you know how you are.
Oh yes, I am quite flamboyant with my in
your
clothes.
Attire,
yeah,
with your Send Memes T-shirt and your basketball shorts.
Basketball shorts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. You're always like styling.
Yeah.
You're such a Poppin' J.
Poppin' J. Okay.
Yeah. I do love that word.
It's not a compliment, I'm guessing.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's rude and terrible.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
It's like a backward compliment. It's like, oh, look how nicely dressed you are, you fucking asshole. That kind of thing.
Okay.
I added that part. That part isn't in the definition. Do you want me to get you the actual definition?
No, I believe you.
Okay. All right. I can't wait for you to look it up later and be like, that bitch. That fucking bitch. So we will be drawing a name. It's kind of, things were a little bit postponed. We were supposed to have our tipster who was visiting this week, but she had to postpone her trip to the end of October. We were going to have her do the drawing, but what I'm going to do is do the drawing in the next week for the 2 key fobs and the $20 Target gift card that you will be getting, and will be perfect in time for Halloween. So she will be here at the end of October, and we're going to record something with her because we got a new mobile recording device.
Sweet.
What should I call it? I don't know what to call it.
I think that's a perfect explanation.
Okay. Yeah. If you've ever watched really shitty Hallmark movies and mysteries, Allison Sweeney hosts a podcast called Unresolved or something, and she works at a newspaper, and she has this little portable recorder she's always shoving in people's faces, and it makes me laugh really hard.
Nice.
And our beloved Matt, it's made by Zoom. I do not know if that's the company that does the online stuff, or if it's...
Oh, I don't know either.
I know.
I mean, Zoom mics have been around for a while.
Okay, so maybe that's it then.
I don't know if it's
connected. Our mics are sure.
No. But Zoom has had recorders for 20 years, probably.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
They were like right at the same time
that
iPods were being invented.
Thank you.
They were
I had no
out.
idea.
But I don't know. I don't know.
I only know of Zoom online. Yeah, Zoom online stuff. So, yeah, but it's the company of Zoom, and we got some good Shure mics, and we're going to take this shit on the road.
I'm excited. We're going to do this.
Yeah, and I'm going next weekend remotely, and Joshua's going to help me before that, so I can figure out how to fucking do it and not fuck it up.
Oh, I'm confident that you will figure out
fuck
how.
It up. Yeah. You couldn't belie your giggle. You're like, oh, I'm confident you're going to fuck it up. Yeah, no, you were trying to be nice, but no, it doesn't work. Does not work. Alrighty, I can't think of any other except we could use some. Oh, I keep forgetting. I want to read Kat's review because it's such a good one. I will read it, Kat. It just will be next week. Also, I want to apologize to Beatty, who I said her name was Biddy, and it's spelled B-I-D-I, but it's German and it's Beatty.
Beatty, okay.
Yeah, so I want to apologize to Beatty, who works at CFL Dental Labs with Cindy, and got me the incredibly terrible upper necklace.
So cool.
Set of uppers necklace that I never wanted ever to have. And now I cannot escape it. It's hanging.
Bling, bling.
Yeah, it's hanging right there. It's staring at us. It does feel like it's staring at us all the time. So I apologize, Beatty. I will get your name right from now on. So if you could leave us a review or a rating, we would be very grateful for that. Very, very grateful for that. And if you would like to know how to join Patreon, Joshua will give you that information at the end of the episode. We definitely appreciate that. I just got an email with another case from Tipster Michelle, which I'll be looking at. And I haven't had time this morning because we're doing this today. But so this case is, it's been a long time coming, and I had so many tipsters from my home area sent this to me, and I had never heard of it. Obviously, I was like a kid when it happened, and um, it's how do I say this nicely? It's unsolved, yet detectives feel they know who is probably responsible. That person is no longer with us, and I know there's someone more than someone. There's several someones who could have information. So this
Oh.
is from October of 1979. And it's such a fascinating case because of, what happens to her is a really crappy thing. And then what happens after is holds a lot of fascination because of so many odd things in her life, what happened, where she's from, someone becoming interested in her case. It's just, there's a lot of weird details.
Hmm.
If you haven't figured it out already, it's the case of Lesley Sparrow. So Lesley was originally from England and born in, I think it was 1949. Yeah. So she was 35 years old. She had come to the United States and I believe lived in Atlanta, Georgia with a serviceman. She was married to someone in the military. They ended up getting divorced. And in the 70s, Lesley would have been considered a real, like, female boss babe.
Hmm.
She did not let any grass grow under her feet. She started, I believe, with Anaconda Industries, which was a subsidiary of a larger company that I can't remember, something Richfield. I always forget the name of it. Like Michigan Richfield, something with an M. Anaconda Industries was a large aluminum manufacturing company.
Okay.
So she gets transferred to Louisville, Kentucky, and she seems to fit in really, really well. She is bright and bubbly and interesting as fuck. She loves dangerous, like, whitewater rafting and
Nice.
skydiving. And, she's just very athletic and always kind of down for anything and just like this big, bright, bubbly light, this 35-year-old ass kicking woman, and she lives alone in an apartment with a dog. And when she goes away, she has a neighbor who takes care of her dog for her. So she had a high powered position. I believe she was the supervisor of HR for Anaconda. And Anaconda was a very interesting company to work for in the 70s. I guess there was probably a lot of industry building going on
Okay.
where aluminum was important.
Okay.
And so it was booming. This
Nice.
company was booming, and she was like a supervisor in HR. And I think she had to me, people in HR have their personalities are, you have to be kind of open. You don't have to be, what?
Oh, I thought you were going to start talking shit about HR people.
No, no. I think you have to be kind of an extrovert. You have to draw
sure. Yeah,
people out.
absolutely.
You have to know the questions to ask them to see if they're going to be right for a position. Do I have a look when I'm going to talk shit about somebody?
No, I was just waiting.
No, I'm a big fan of HR people because I
Okay.
feel like they think they almost have to think outside the box to get the right person for the right position.
Absolutely. Sure.
Because you don't want to spend time recruiting someone, training them, and getting them into a position just to fill a position, and then they're unhappy, you're unhappy. I mean, you let down too many people, including yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I hold HR people in high esteem. Goofball,
Nice.
what's
Good.
wrong with you? Wow. I don't talk shit about everyone. Jesus Christ.
I think it's just my shit. I've been sent to HR too many times, and
oh wow.
So that's my.
Me too, actually. Now that I think about it, can you imagine being sent to the general manager of a radio station?
Oh no.
Yeah, what on earth could you have done? Yeah, just imagine.
Oh.
It's your friend Melissa.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I think she was probably really good at what she did, and she was sort of enjoying being a single woman and enjoying her life, like, to its greatest extent. So someone really went to a lot of trouble to lure her into something really awful. They sent a letter or a note, and she had been dating several people at the time. I'll just put this out there, probably mostly single men, but there were rumors that one of or more could have been married. But she tried very hard not to date men from work. And when she did, they met at these very out of the way places so that no one from work knew. I think that's pretty smart. Someone went to a lot of trouble to send her a note mentioning friends' names and even family members' names. Now, please know part of the story, which is a little sad at the end, is her family is still in England. And I know detectives have reached out to them over the years, and that part of what happened is really sad because of the time it happened and the distance between. Right. So did I say she was born in 49? She was born in 44. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. I'm bad with math. She was born in 1944. And she was murdered in 1979. Also, it's important to me that her name is Lesley, Lesley, which is the British spelling of Leslie, which I think is a very beautiful way. I really like it with the Y. So she told a neighbor, hey, can you watch my dog? I'm going away for the weekend. I am going up to northern Kentucky to get on a plane at CVG. Now, those of you who live there, you know that stands for Covington. It is the airport code for the Greater Cincinnati International Airport, which is in northern Kentucky. So she was going to get on a plane at CVG and fly to Phoenix, Arizona for a skydiving event. And it was going to be like a big international skydiving event that was like, she was just really excited about.
Cool.
And we don't know exactly what day she got there. I'm thinking she drove up on either Friday night or Saturday. And on Sunday, October 14th of 1979, a worker at a hotel, a Best Western hotel, looked out the window to the parking lot and sees a Monte Carlo with what looks like blood on the door and blood in a puddle beside the car.
Jeez.
So she goes to examine it and she calls the police, and they arrive and open the trunk of the car to find Lesley. Now, Lesley has been shot 6 times in the back of the head and beaten 15 times with a tire iron.
Whoa.
So that would be considered overkill.
Yeah.
There are reports that are somewhat confusing. It says that her purse was gone, but in her belongings, which I thank you to Major Phil Ridgel, who sent me a redacted file with like 180 pages, I think. And some things listed, and I think she packed the way a lot of young women would pack if you're going away for the weekend. A couple different outfits, a bathing suit, nice bras and underwear, a separate white purse and white shoes, which I didn't understand exactly. But shoes, of course, you want to bring extra shoes. But it was like a weekend. It wasn't like a week. But, things that were in her bag were appropriate things for a weekend. But I do think it's odd that her purse, from what I can tell, her purse wasn't found. However, there was a small holder with some like shopping cards and library card things with her name on it.
Okay.
And they were able to match that with the VIN number of the car.
Got it.
So she had purchased the car like maybe a year before that happened. So our beloved Detective Coy Cox said, when police got there, a first responder found the vehicle and there was a lot of blood in the front seat. They don't know if the person maybe attacked her in the front seat and then moved her to the trunk.
Oh, okay.
They do have fingerprints and some other things. And I can tell you, I just spoke with Detective Cox yesterday, and I asked him a few questions, and he cleared up a few things for me. But I can tell you that a blue shirt covered in blood, was found several miles away on the freeway on the side of the road. One of the hotel rooms oddly registered to, I believe it's the name of her father. There were remnants of someone cleaning up.
Oh.
Like no one really stayed there.
They just got a hotel room just to clean up after?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the way it appears to me. Again, when it's all these years later, things get, kind of changed.
Sure. Okay.
Right. But it's, they do have some evidence. I get it. It's 1979. Things were a lot different, and I do not know how well things have been maintained.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I asked Detective Cox, what about the items found in Lesley's car, the hotel room where someone washed up in the blue shirt on the highway? Is any of that testable today? And he said, I go back and forth with the lab on those items. So far, it's all undetermined.
Oh.
So they kick into gear immediately. And what's the first thing you do when someone dies in a really terrible way? Is you do victimology. Okay, where did this person work? Who did this person hang around with?
Got it.
And I can tell you at the time, Boone County did not have the sheriff's department. What they had was the Boone County Police Department. And I don't know if it was in the late 70s where things were were not as respected as they are now.
Okay.
Because the sheriff's department took over because of some, malfeasance.
Right.
But it feels like this, I think he was a captain. His name's Don Stamper. He took it personally. And I think he really took it to heart. So here's this woman who's born in England, moves to the state of Kentucky, and then ends up murdered and put in the trunk of her car. And it feels like a case that he really took personally and went. I know they went to Louisville. They talked to people. They didn't just leave it to somebody else to do something and report back to them. They were hands-on. They were really hands-on. He has such a hard time discussing Lesley's case that he says, this is one of those cases we just really wanted to solve so bad, the brutalness of it. And then according to the reporter from the Cincinnati Enquirer, and this is from November of 1983. So this is 5 years after.
Okay.
He said the brutalness of it, and his voice trails off. The condition of Lesley, the facts of the case, we just worked so hard on it. And he said, I have a room full of circumstantial evidence. The Commonwealth attorney, he's the one to decide, and he didn't feel there was enough to try this guy on. So they have this, suspect.
Right.
And I think they had a couple. And I think that they thought it was one person at first, and then they thought it was another person. And I know in the case file I received, there were a couple of names, and they did research on these people, crawled up their buttholes with a microscope.
Okay.
Military records, school records.
Oh, then that's all in there.
Yeah, like he get caught running in the hall?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean they really, So the Anaconda Company, because of where she worked and what she did, they had this very odd. I started to say insurance policy, but it's not insurance. It's like it's the string. Can you imagine working somewhere where, you're onboarding in a new company and it's like, oh, by the way, We have a reward system that if you witness or know of any violence suffered by any of our employees,
What?
you get paid if you report it. Like they reward you for being a whistleblower.
Wow.
And their reasoning why is, like, for instance, Lesley, she is this HR supervisor over a lot of stuff. Her position may have required that she walk a tightrope trying to deal with like union disputes.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Okay.
I've just never heard of a company
All right. So yeah.
that's like, if you know of any of our, any of our employees who are suffer at, and it's not just suffer at the hands of people who work there, but like, let's say they
It's
get mugged
any.
walking down the street or
Sure.
something. I think they're trying to encourage a culture of coming forward,
Right.
but it's just the most interesting, odd thing I've ever.
Yeah, that's way bizarre. I mean,
It
when you're saying
is.
it like that with union stuff, like to kind of ward off people
Yeah.
muscling things to get what they want or
Right.
whatever.
I mean, one of those something like that might be like quietly known.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? If something happens, come and tell me. We'll escalate this up, whatever. But to make it like a company wide policy where people in the company know, hey, if something happens to, Bob,
Right.
tell Joe, and you might get paid if
Sure.
it turns. It's like offering a reward on information on a case. It's like they're their own internal police department or something.
Right.
I just found that fast. I've never heard of that before.
I haven't either.
I just thought
But
that
yeah,
was
no,
yeah.
and I think if you make it out loud like that, that would ward off like that kind of union busting, thuggery.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that's it.
like,
I mean,
yeah, don't come around here and do that kind of stuff because
we're going to pay people who.
we've got a reward set
Yeah.
up. Yeah, we'll find out who it was.
Snitches get riches.
Wow.
I just wrote that.
Did you?
New. Yeah, I just came up with that right now because I'm fucking super
Yeah,
smart.
you are. Nice. I like it.
Yeah. Snitches get riches.
All right.
I'm putting that out.
Okay.
I'm putting up on like what do you call it? Trademark, register, copyright. That's mine.
That's it.
That's all mine.
That's it.
Yeah. So this is the part where a lot of people from my hometown were like, this case is fascinating. Here is why. 41 years after she has been murdered, a young man named Liam Collins, I believe he was a Boy Scout. Oh, Eagle Scout. He was an Eagle Scout. And he was cleaning up an area of Boone County that was overrun by shrubs and bush. And he finds, and it was this is a terrible word, but they called it like a potter's field. It was like a burial place for poor people is what they called it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, like if you didn't have family or somebody, maybe you were incarcerated, no one picked you up, you were buried there.
You're there. Okay.
So oddly, there was a small aluminum sign, aluminum, like anaconda aluminum, that said Lesley Sparrow, her birth date and her death date. And this is when Liam Collins is cleaning up stuff. And he's like, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
And this is where Lesley was buried.
Wow.
Her family, and I don't quite understand because obviously family, you don't know all these years later why.
Sure.
Her parents were still alive. She was in touch with them, not close touch, but in touch with them. She came from a wealthy, well-to-do family. She had her own money and worked her ass off.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't pay to have her shipped to England for a proper burial?
Huh. Or even a proper burial here. Like, wow.
She's unmarried. All she has are friends. She doesn't, have anyone to kind of look out for her estate. She's 35. She wouldn't think she'd need that right now.
Sure.
I don't understand what happened, and I don't want to judge because I'm guessing there are extenuating circumstances I couldn't possibly understand,
Right.
you know, or maybe not.
I,
But all I know is this woman was in Potter's Field in Boone County because
yeah.
that's where she was murdered.
Mm,
And a young
yeah.
man cleaning up shrubs finds a small aluminum marker,
Wow.
a sign like a road sign
Huh.
on a pole. That was her entire burial
Wow.
marker. So sweet Liam Collins decides as part of an Eagle Scout project that he is going to collect funds to get her a permanent headstone,
Oh.
something that would fit with the rest of this cemetery that would look nicer and something that will stand the test of time. He says, I think that doing things like this, even if no one sees what you are doing, just to be a kind person and make sure that everybody, even after death, has a nice place to rest.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating that this young man is cleaning up things and finds a potter's field of, poor people who are buried there, and then takes it. He's, 15-year-old kid,
Right.
takes it on himself to, I feel like this is an injustice. And
Yeah.
then he's right when he finds out how she died.
Right. Totally.
So I can tell you, I know they're still working on this. And while I had to, kind of weasel my way into getting the information, I did finally get it. And I have to tell you, the Boone County Sheriff's Office, their homicide, their cold case office, I know you've heard me only say amazing things about them. And yes, I'm going to keep saying that
Oh,
because
good.
they are spectacular. They are they don't give up, and every case is as important to them as the next. There's not one that is more important. There are probably some that are closer to their heart because they actually might know the victims, but I'm
Sure.
telling you, I am constantly impressed with what they do and how they do it and how they communicate and their passion for getting these things solved. So I sent as you can imagine, a shitload of questions to Detective Cox, who'd be like, not answering that one.
Uh-huh.
My favorite was he sent back an emoji that had a bee holding up a sign that said no. I don't know what a bee has to do with anything, but it was a bee that had like a pissed look on his face and he had a sign that said no. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not getting that answer. So he did finally answer a couple things yesterday. And I said, and I have a feeling I kind of know who they're thinking of, but he will not give me a name, even though in their mind, the suspect is deceased.
Okay.
But see if any of these things ring a bell with anyone who, may have heard something, knew something, because he lived in Louisville. He lured her to Northern Kentucky. He murdered her in a real ugly way. And I will be honest with you, lots of people thought that it was a female or that it was a married couple.
Oh.
Women, obviously, women can do things in any way they want, the same way men can. Women typically do not shoot you 6 times and beat you with a tire iron. They don't have the upper body strength. It's not their MO. They typically stab you or
Okay.
poison you. Honestly, sorry.
Yeah.
I know. It's just more, anyway. I never felt it was a married couple. I thought perhaps it was a love triangle of some sort, but I thought a man may be angry at her because she was dating someone
A
else.
different man. Okay.
Right. And she was very beautiful and obviously was not looking for, she'd been married and they got divorced and she was not looking for a relationship like that anymore, at least not right then.
Yeah.
She was concentrating on work and living. She was working hard and playing hard.
Okay.
And she, was dating quite a few people. And maybe there just wasn't one that stood out that she wanted to make a permanent relationship. So I said, when I kind of figured out a direction they were going, was your suspect married to, well, I need to go back. In the email before this last one, he says the suspect lived in Louisville and then moved to Arizona where he killed his wife, we think, and then moved to California where he died.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, so he died.
Huh.
I was very curious.
Yeah.
So, is the wife's murder unsolved? And he said yes.
Oh, wow.
So if this man got away with killing 2 women,
Crazy.
one he dated potentially and one he was actually married to, and then he dies, that's real shitty.
Yeah.
That's real shitty. I said, was the suspect married to the woman you suspect he also murdered at the time of Lesley's murder? And he said, not at the time of the murder.
Oh, okay.
So here's how you have to ask questions to Detective Cox. Like that. Like, you have to be explicit. Nothing can be implied. You can't say, was he married at the time? Because he would say yes or no. Was he married to the woman that you think that he killed at that time?
Okay. Got it.
Not at the time of her murder. I mean, he God love him. I love him with all my heart. He keeps shit so close to the vest.
Yeah.
You have to know how to talk to him, how to question him. Okay. And he still will sometimes send you a bee emoji holding up a sign that says no. A bee emoji with like furrowed brows, like no. It's like hilarious. Okay. Did your suspect die of natural causes? Yes, as the result of a rough life.
Oh.
So I believe he was obviously a hard liver.
Okay.
Because he probably took some secrets with him to the grave, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then I said, are any of the items found in Lesley's car, the supposed hotel room where someone washed up, or the blue shirt found on the highway, are those testable as of today? And he said, I go back and forth with the lab on that. At this point, it's undetermined. So, I mean, this case is so fascinating because of where she worked, because of who she was, because someone went to great lengths to lure her. But she wouldn't, in my mind, she was smart. She wouldn't just drive to Northern Kentucky and say, hey, I'm gone for the weekend. I'm going on a skydiving expedition with it wasn't someone she met on, Match.com.
Right.
Someone she had to know.
Sure.
Or trust.
Yeah, it's got to be some amount of trust for sure.
And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the invitation or letter arrived to the office.
Oh.
Because she was telling coworkers, oh, look, I got this invitation to go away for the weekend.
Oh.
Like they made this letter look like an official invite to this skydiving event that was never going to happen. That wasn't
existed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, how much work?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that sounds like it would be from a woman.
Okay.
Women do like written things, and that's, I mean, they are typically, note writers and things. That's like, most dudes are not that,
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you're in a relationship with someone who is that like thoughtful and does shit like that. That's not like a guy you're fucking on the weekend.
Yeah, well,
unless he wants more than you.
He's already way too far attached.
Yeah. I just thought it was so weird. It's 1979 and we're assuming he, kind of goes, it's a very creative, like display.
Yeah.
To get someone where you then can brutally ends
That's
their life. Like if you're, in my mind, if you're mad, like shoot somebody in the head and move on.
sure.
6 times and then beat them
Yeah.
15 times with a tire iron.
Yeah. That's very angry. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
the
that's,
word overkill sounds
yeah.
overused, but I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else that was so odd to me, and it could just be if we all look at what we carry in the back of our cars, we all have like, oh, Jesus Christ, if you see the back seat of my SUV, it's like, oh no, is Jimmy Hoffa underneath
Yeah.
that thing that you put in there to carry siren around?
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got 3 milk crates and a toolbox.
well, but that's probably for reasons though,
Like,
right?
oh, yeah.
Like to tote things or store
Yeah, but I mean,
things.
I've got a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff.
But you have 3 sons involved
Yeah.
in different things. I have a dog who doesn't get in my car that often, and I
Sure.
still haven't taken that thing out. And if I am carrying someone, they're typically in the passenger seat. I'm usually
Yeah.
not toting a bunch of people. So in the trunk of her car is an open bag of charcoal.
Hmm.
I know.
She's gonna grill, or she did grill. I mean,
I don't know if that was left by her or if that was left by him.
hmm.
Would he be like setting her on fire slowly over a nice applewood
Oh.
briquette or something?
Oh. Like, and then, but he left the body just in
Mm-hmm.
the trunk. So, like, that was the plan
I don't
to
know.
dispose,
What do you use charcoal for?
to grill, to, I mean, but
I
it
know. Is there
feels
any
like,
other reason?
I don't know.
I don't either. I just thought it was an odd piece of information. There was an open bag of charcoal in the trunk of her
Yeah.
car. She didn't have like a lot of. She didn't travel like I do with a lot of shit. There were 2 different kinds of cigarettes in the back seat ashtrays. One of one kind and 3 of another. And I believe she smoked, but I don't think she'd be in her back seat. Maybe.
In the back seat, yeah. I mean,
You remember how they used to have little ashtrays? I don't think they even have ashtrays anymore, do they?
well, yeah, but I have like coins and toys and whatever
Right.
in there now.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't you remember those little like
Yeah.
silver, like you hit one side and the lid flops
Uh-huh.
up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, unless she's hanging out back there,
with the fella
having fellow relations, yeah.
in the parking lot of a hotel where
Well, I mean,
she could
just
absolutely afford to get a room.
in general, though. No, some
Oh, I
other
got
time,
you.
like
Oh,
maybe
okay.
she was
Right,
hanging
right,
out
right.
some other time,
Right.
or she took more than 2 people somewhere.
Right. No, I got you.
Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah, I mean, you don't always clean out your ashtrays, especially if
yeah,
you're a smoker. The smell doesn't bother you, whatever.
right,
But the charcoal in the back in the trunk where she
yeah,
was,
huh.
I know. It could have just
Yeah.
been she bought it for home. I mean, she lived in an apartment, so she would have probably had the grill out on a deck or something, or maybe a common area.
Yeah, but if you buy it, then it's closed, and then you bring it to your house, it's not open anymore.
Right.
So you're if it's open, you went somewhere to grill.
Or maybe she doesn't have a storage area in her
Oh,
apartment and she
sure.
had to take a
And
couple of
storing
bricks
it.
out at a time and put. I
Yeah,
know.
maybe that's what
That was the one that just like,
Yeah.
of all the things I read, nothing really surprised me. There was detailed information on her autopsy, which was, her 35-year-old body was unremarkable in that she didn't have she had hypothyroidism that was undiagnosed, but everything else was, her body was in fine shape. She didn't have organ issues. Reading about the teeth was fascinating about what had been done. She had a lovely teeth, but she'd had some
dental work that had happened.
She'd had
Okay.
some work, right? But not like anything hugely cosmetic, just regular stuff,
Okay.
like a crown and fillings and stuff. So yeah, the bag of charcoal. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like she went somewhere, or either she regularly goes somewhere and grills and whatever. I mean, you go to the park and there's those grills at the park and or
Right.
wherever, or she did it one time and it was still in there.
Yeah.
Or like you said, that's where she stores it.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there are obviously a series of answers that it could fit,
Yeah,
but it was just like an odd thing to me.
it's weird.
Of all the things I carry in the back of my car, and there's a lot of shit,
Mhm.
I have never carried charcoal unless I had bought it at the store to bring it home to have Mark
Sure.
grill. You know,
Right.
I just was like, it seemed like a young swinging single girl who lives in an apartment traveling with a open bag of charcoal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Maybe
know.
there's another use that I'm not quite grabbing,
Me
because
too. That's what I was asking. I was like, do you
like
think?
in 79, was there
Right.
something else that people regularly use charcoal for that
I
maybe
don't
we
know.
don't do now, and I'm
Right.
not pulling it?
Right. Me either.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, all you'd use it for is like sidewalk chalk,
Oh,
but that would get your hands real black.
is she an artist? Does she go to the
Yeah, that's it. She goes,
she
yeah, to the
goes and sit in the
park.
park and
Yeah.
does charcoal
Yeah, with
drawings?
real charcoal briquettes.
Yeah.
Not charcoal you get at an art store, but
It's-
actual briquettes. Because she's from England and she doesn't know how shit works here.
Sure.
So she's like, yeah, I'm going to use these briquettes. This bag's going to last me a long time, but I should wear some gloves.
It's way more cost effective
Yeah.
than that art supply
Yeah.
store.
And all your artwork smells smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's a little smarter than that, but yeah. All right. So I am grateful to the people, and there were a lot of them who sent me, information on this case. And it took me a while to get to it because I wanted to get the information and I wanted to talk to Detective Cox about it. So, I'm grateful for your patience, but it's like one of those things where it comes up in the local news, where I'm from, and then everybody sends it to me and I'm like, okay, I get it. But I'm grateful that they do, because everybody has a different article. And so I can piece things together.
Oh, cool. Good.
And then getting to talk to Detective Cox made things better for me. Even if this suspect is deceased, I don't know. I'm a big believer that somebody knows something. I read somewhere, somebody said my dad worked at Anaconda at the time, but he worked, I guess, like out in the shop, and he didn't, really
Sure.
know Lesley. So I know there are people still alive that either worked there or heard something. I know there are.
Yeah.
There have to be. And I know that the Boone County Sheriff's Department, cold case department, they're definitely never going to give up.
Cool.
So if you have any information on what happened to Lesley Sparrow, please call the Boone County Sheriff's Office, the cold case unit at 859-334-4807. And you can always call us at 832-Tipster. That's 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms at Just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.